What does your body need? Such a simple question once you know the definition that you're working on. I was just talking with a therapist, discussing some stuff, and I was telling her about how last week, because I've been tired a lot, that some of my self-doubts were getting triggered. But I was making sure I didn't cycle in out of control with it. And I would tell myself, it's like, hey, I understand. I understand that you have concerns about where you're going and your future, but you don't want to cycle in and get stuck on the negative self-talk either. And I was doing a lot of my mirror work around that and telling myself, yeah, I got it. I understand. But, we don't want to go down that path either. And other things. We're talking about various parts and talking about what that part might need, and also notice some of my other parts. The self-shaming part came in and had some thoughts saying, it's like, I don't like that. So we were talking about that as I was having the thoughts and trying to pinpoint things. Not saying everything that was in my mind, just because got to say one thing and then other things leave, but that's normal. That's normal. And so working with a lot of these things, and my mood was actually going down during this session. This is actually the one of the therapists from the psilocybin retreat who I was talking with. So we're doing a lot of talking about parts and everything. And I'd been in a good mood because my sleep finally is getting back to normal. Just did my workout and everything. But I thought it was important to tell her that also, saying it's not about the conversation, just that all these things I'm trying to figure out and trying to understand and trying to get at what it is, but it's confusing, it's difficult. So that's also bringing my mood down. I'm feeling a little bit less sure. And I could definitely, through the session, I was more and more rubbing my arm, which for me is a massive anxiety sign. And I knew it. I knew I was doing it. And I was tense and everything. But like trying to figure out these things and trying to work with how she's trying to guide me. She asked if I wanted to try to connect with the self-anger part, the self-shaming part, to say I didn't like the other part. And then I could feel my body get tense, and I felt like my body is saying, I'm not comfortable with that. So I told her. And as we went, she at one point asked me, what's your body need? And that was kind of confusing to me. I even told her, I was like, I'm not sure what you're asking, because for me, when I heard that, I'm thinking our physical needs, our emotional needs, our spiritual needs, our social needs, our entire need hierarchy. And so that's what I'm going on. I'm trying to think, well, what's my body need from me? What's my entire system need from me? The desires, it needs long-term. So I'm thinking a lot of big, heavy things that are very difficult to answer. Very difficult and broad question. So that's also just increasing my own confusion, inner uncertainty, going, I don't know. At one point, I'd even been asking her, she said that when we're in our core self, we want to give ourselves space to listen to these other parts and find out what is it that those parts that are getting triggered need from us. And we're not giving advice. But I told her, I was like, but when I'm doing my mirror work, I'm usually telling myself, yeah, I understand. I'm trying to listen, trying to understand, but I'm also trying to reparent myself and trying to tell myself, it's like, well, we don't want to cycle in on these thoughts either and get them out of control. But I understand that I have concerns and inner concerns, but we need to give ourselves time. It's going to take time. We're going to keep taking one step at a time, taking the actions. And I asked her, wait, but if I'm giving advice, does that mean I'm not operating from myself? Because it feels like I'm operating from my core self. So I was a little confused. And she said, no, it's like what you're describing, that is you're operating from your core self, but you're also using your higher intellect as well. So it's combined, it's multiple parts you're working from. But when you're just purely in your core self, that's when you're just curious about what these parts are experiencing. What is it that they really underneath need from you? Because the part might be questioning your abilities, but that's not really the need. There's a deeper need. So it's about giving yourself space and trying to get at what is the underlying thing. So there's a lot of things that was building up in my body and getting me more and more tense because I'm trying to figure out things and trying to work with the therapist and just trying to grasp what it is that's being asked of me. And so a lot of confusion going, what's to interpret of the things, words, good, BR, now. And at one point I even thought about saying, I was like, well, my body certainly is very tense. I could use some relaxation, but I didn't think that's what she was asking about. So I'm still focused on the conceptual, all these various types of needs, our hierarchy of needs. But then eventually I did just say that to her. I decided, you know what, I don't think this is what she's asking, but I'm just going to say this just to, because it's the only thing I can think of right now, because everything is so much bigger and I'm trying to get that across. And then she responded, exactly. It's like, your body is tense. You could use some relaxation. And as we talk more, she's like, so try to move, try to wiggle out, try to loosen that up. And as I'm doing that, I'm also asking her going, is that what you meant when you asked, what do I need? What does my body need? Is just, what does it physically need right now? She's like, yes. I'm like, oh, I thought this was a deeper question. I didn't think it was such a direct, simple thing. So once you know the definitions that you're working on, it really, really helps. And after I loosened that up and let my body get loosened, plus once I knew what was being asked of me, so the two things combined, my mood lightened up a lot. Now, it didn't answer all the other things, but that helped my mood right then. So I know that I'm not the only one who has taken an instruction like that and then tried to figure it out and going on, there's multiple definitions of need and just trying to figure out what is it, and I'm trying to see myself as an entire system in this very deep meaning, and that's hard when it was just dead simple. Your body is physically tense right now, so you can use some physical relaxation. That's all. And once you can get your body to get relaxed again, that can help your mood, which can then help your mind to better process and work on what other things that you're trying to go through. So keep that in mind. I wanted to share it for people who might experience this as well. Sometimes just if you're getting tensed up on a situation and you're feeling physically tense, maybe you just need to wiggle it out, just get moving. You're closed up, open your arms and just, loosen this up, or just take some deep breaths, laugh it out, get up and walk, but in a way where you're trying to release the tension. Because a lot of times you can be tense and still walking in a very tense way. But so the goal is just to give yourself physical tension release, and then that can help, and then go from there. Knowing the definitions helps. I do wonder if this is part of my neurodivergence, my autism, that trying to figure that out and seeing all these meanings and trying to go which one, and just getting this, knowing that needs is such a complex thing and trying to figure that out deeply. Although in this case, taking the literal definition of what does your body physically need right now? If she had said physically, that might have helped. But yeah, it's curious, but I don't know. But keep that in mind, see if that helps, and to focus on that type of thing. And go from there, because sometimes it's what we need first. Because as the therapist pointed out, it's like our bodies are much more, they've been around for longer than our brains, so there's a lot of stuff built into our bodies that we need to take care of as well before we get to our thoughts. And it all works together, very complex system. So yeah, take care everyone.